This is Max Messenger with Lynn Aerospace, and I'm here today to show you how to assemble and pre-flight the X-8 flying wing aircraft. It's a pretty simple process, and if you follow the instruction manual and the checklist, it's pretty straightforward, but I'm going to walk you through it here just so you can see. So the first step in getting this thing ready to fly is to take our wing spars. You get two of them in the kit. One is long and one is short. The long one is going to slide through the back hole right here. It's normal for there to be some friction in there. And then the front spar is going to go through. Now when you put this front spar through, it actually goes through the inside of the fuselage. So watch and make sure that you're not pulling any wires out with that, and then it'll just go right over into the hole on the other side of the fuselage. And we end up with it looking about like that. Now we're ready to put on one of our wings. So I'll start with the right wing. So we're just going to take this and we'll put our spars into the holes on here. And now we have these wing joining pieces, these clips right here. We want to slide all of these forward because you can see here when it slides to the back, it's going to close over this piece on the other side. So we'll slide these forward so they're open. And we're going to take our servo wire, and there's a little cut right here just in front of the rear wing spar. And we're just going to put our servo wire through there. And then we'll reach inside and pull it out through the other side. And now as I slide the wing on, you're going to see how that's going to kind of bunch up. So I'm going to pull on the servo wire gently while I slide the wing in there. And then we just go ahead and push it all the way home. And then once it's joined up, we can put our clips, slide our clips back. And then this servo wire is going to attach to this wire that's clipped right here beside the autopilot. So we'll just look, and we've got white to white, and then we'll just tuck this away inside the fuselage. This other lead is for the other wing servo. So we just repeat the same process over here. Slide our clips forward. Put our servo wire through. Keep a little bit of tension on the inside and slide the wing all the way home and slide our clips back. And then we've got our other extension. Plug those in, make sure it's seated all the way, and then we can just tuck this in there beside the autopilot. So now the aircraft is all assembled, so that's good to go. We're going to go ahead and place our batteries. So if you're flying with the camera, battery placement is really simple. One of these batteries is going to go all the way up to the front, and if you look inside there, there's Velcro all the way up at the front of the nose, and there's Velcro on the ends of these batteries. So that Velcro is just going to go all the way to the front, stick on the nose there, and then press the battery down to seat it to the battery tray. Make sure that's nice and secure. And then this other battery, you'll notice that both of them also have Velcro on the side. That is for this strip right here. So the battery is going to go in here and make sure we're not pinching any wires or anything like that. And we're going to slide this forward and seat it down so that it's Velcroed to the front and the bottom. And that should be, it's going to have a little bit of play in it, but it should be good and secure. It's not going to go anywhere. So then at this point, all of that's put together, we would be ready to power it up. So we will go ahead and switch over to our operation checklist. So I have this printed out. I recommend that you always take this with you to the field when you're going to fly. The top of it is mission planning, so you'll use this when you're setting up your flight plan. And then we have our pre-flight checklist. So step one, we're going to assemble the aircraft. We've already taken care of that. Step two, we're going to make sure that our winglets are securely attached and don't move. So the beginning of this checklist is all structural checks. So we're just going to kind of gently manipulate those. There's going to be some flex, but we want to make sure that they're not loose. Then 3, we're going to ensure that the elevons are securely attached to the wings and all of our servo control hardware is securely attached. So we're going to make sure that our tape here that forms our hinge is good. We're going to make sure that these linkages are all tight, that this control horn is tight on there, that the servo horn is tight, and that this rod doesn't move through this linkage, that's tightened down. And we're going to do this for both sides. Needless to say, these two surfaces right here provide all of the control for the aircraft. If one of them were to fail, the aircraft will crash. You cannot fly a flying wing with one elevon, so be sure to do that check before you fly. We're going to confirm that the motor mount is secure and that the motor is secure on the motor mount. So we're going to make sure that our motor mount isn't loose in the frame, and we're going to make sure that our motor is not loose on the motor mount. And then we're going to make sure that the propeller is tight on the prop shaft. So we're just going to grab the motor can and move the propeller, or try to move the propeller and confirm that everything there is tight. Okay. We're going to make sure that all of our electrical connections from the battery to the motor look good. So we can look back inside the fuselage and back at the rear of the fuselage where those 3 wires go through that hole. There's 3 connectors. You basically shouldn't see any exposed metal there. You may see a tiny, less than a millimeter of exposed metal, but any more than that, and those connectors are loose, and you can just slide them back together. And then we also want to make sure that this connection down in there is tight. Okay. Now we're ready to start powering things up. So we're going to power up our transmitter.
Welcome to Free Sky Tyrannus. Switch warning.
Now we've got a switch warning. That means that one of these switches is not in their off position. And right here it's telling us it's switch F, which is right back here. When we flip that back, we're going to get our normal startup screen. You may get a switch warning or a throttle warning if the throttle is not at the minimum. So all you have to do is make sure the throttle is down and make sure all of the switches are up away from you. Okay, now we're ready to power on the aircraft. So we have 2 battery leads here, 1 for each battery. These are called T connectors. So we're just going to plug that in there. and we're going to get a series of sounds. That musical tone at the beginning was our autopilot booting up. This movement on the left elevon is indicating, that's a servo demonstration. That's showing you that the output from the autopilot is functioning. And then there were some beeps that came out of the motor, and those are showing us that our motor controller and our motor are functioning properly. So now we'll get our second battery and connect it up. Be careful, because once you've connected one of these batteries, these are exposed leads that are live. So if you were to touch these against metal, they would short out the other battery. So make sure that you connect up this second lead as soon as you can, and don't let it touch any metal in or around the aircraft. So now our battery cables are hooked up, so everything's powered up. Now we are going to connect Mission Planner. So I've got our computer here, and I have our telemetry radio plugged into our USB port. We have a solid green light and an irregularly flashing red light. You may not be able to see the red light, it's kind of dim, but our solid green light means that this radio is linked. So if we were to look at the radio modem inside the plane, it would also have a solid green light. If this green light is flashing slowly, that means that there is not a link, that this is not finding another radio. So we have that solid green light. We'll go ahead and click connect.
Mode change to stabilize.
Ooh. And if you have an issue with it connecting,
mode change to stabilize.
You can try restarting either the ground modem or restarting the aircraft.
Mode change to stabilize.
Okay, there we go. So I unplugged our ground modem, plugged it back in. Now we're connecting up okay. Okay, so we're connected to the aircraft and we have a GPS fix there. So our next step is if we were actually out flying, we would load a flight plan. We would read that flight plan back just like I showed you in the Mission Planner tutorial. And then, now we're ready to do the rest of our pre-flight checks. So with the aircraft in manual mode, which like we learned before is indicated on our heads-up display here. So with the aircraft in manual mode,
mode change to FBWA,
which now we are
mode
in manual.
change to manual.
We're going to check all of our control surfaces. So I'm going to push to the left on my roll stick, and when I push to the left wing's elevon should come up,
telemetry recovered.
and the right wing's elevon should go down. So this is pushing the right wing up, pushing the left wing down, which is going to cause a left roll. If I push to the right, we should get exactly the opposite. If I pull back, both should go up, which is going to cause the nose of the aircraft to climb. If I push down or push forward, it's going to push the elevons down, causing the nose to drop. This is counterintuitive to some people, but this is designed after the yoke on a regular airplane. So when you pull back, your nose is going to go up, and when you push forward, your nose is going to go down. Okay. Now we will do our fly-by-wire check. So we'll move our mode switch on the controller to the center
Mode
position.
change to FBWA.
With that in the center position, we're in FBWA, that's confirmed by our computer. And now we want to confirm that the stabilization is working correctly. So the way we do that is to manipulate the aircraft. So if I pick the aircraft up and I roll the aircraft to the left, I should get control that's going to roll it right. So counteracting this left roll. So you can see that my right elevon is up, my left elevon is down, which is going to return the aircraft to a neutral roll. And if I roll to the right, I get exactly the opposite. If I pitch the aircraft up, I get the elevons pointing down.
Error compass variance.
And if I pitch the aircraft down, I get the elevons coming up. So all of our stabilization is working properly. So we'll set our flight mode back to manual.
Mode change to manual.
And at this time, if we were out flying and we had a camera, we would place the camera right in here. The camera handle on the right side is going to stick right here. The bottom of the camera is going to stick right here. And this LED for our Sony cameras is going to go right here in front of the infrared control receiver on the camera. And then we will power the camera up, set it into shutter priority mode with a shutter speed of 1/800 and an ISO setting of auto. So with that done, we will secure our hatch. Okay. And then our last step before we're ready to fly is to confirm that the aircraft arms and that the motor spins properly. So there's two ways we can arm the aircraft. I showed you one in Mission Planner, which is to click the arm disarm button. The other way is with this throttle stick. We can, with it fully at the minimum, we can press it over to the right and hold it and let it return to the center. And we hear that long beep indicating that the motor is armed. The computer talks to us and confirms that. This is not something I recommend doing inside because this prop can spin up quite fast and cause some damage. We'll just wait, I'll just cut this out. No idea who that is, somebody from Salisbury. Here, I'm gonna just, oh, that's interesting.
What?
You can look at this. Wait, what did I do? Yeah, if you click on the HUD, it pops it out.
You can full screen on the HUD.
Yeah. Okay.
Want something to read it?
Disarm.
Throttle disarmed.
So start right from there.
Yeah.
Throttle disarmed.
So to arm the
Telemetry
aircraft
lost.
from the
Telemetry recovered.
to arm the aircraft from the transmitter, we're going to, with this throttle stick all the way down, push to the right and hold
Throttle armed.
until we get that long beep
Throttle armed.
and the computer tells us that the throttle is armed. Once we have that beep, any movement of this throttle stick is going to cause the motor to spin. So be very careful of that. So if I move this stick forward a few clicks, the motor spins. So that's all we want to check for. We want to see that the motor spins and stops. And at this point, if we were out at the field, the plane would already be sitting on the launcher. we would go ahead and tension the bungee, we would hook the launch hook to the bottom, and we would be ready to go. So that's it. Thanks.